What happens when Meghan Markle tries to outshine Paris, and Paris decides to fight back? It began with a bag. Not just any bag, but a one-of-a-kind Hermes Birkin. White leather, gold-plated hardware, and her own quote engraved on the clasp. A symbol of power, independence, and return. But Hermes isn't just a brand. It's a fortress of tradition. And when Meghan's request reached Paris, the response was as polished as it was cold. A quiet no that would echo through the most exclusive rooms in fashion. Because in Paris, rejection doesn't make noise. It whispers. And for Meghan Markle, that whisper was about to turn into a storm. It began like a perfectly planned move. Meghan's team reached out to Hermes headquarters in Paris with a request few would dare make: a custom Birkin. Her vision, ethically sourced white leather, gold-plated details, and her own quote etched into the metal. A personal mantra of empowerment turned into luxury fashion. The timing was strategic, just months before a Montecito charity gala, where she planned her grand return. In her mind, the symbolism was flawless, a Duchess reborn, wrapped in elegance and purpose. But Hermes doesn't take direction. Their reply arrived days later, smooth and final. Our legacy is defined by the Maison, not by collaboration. Translation: we don't take creative notes from you. It was a polite refusal. But in Paris, even politeness can sting. And this one did. Because when Hermes says no, it doesn't just reject an idea. It rejects the person behind it. And that quiet refusal would soon spread faster than any headline ever could. Meghan's team didn't take the no lightly. Within hours, her stylist sent a follow-up, suggesting the design could modernize Hermes for a new generation. Then came another message from her assistant, highlighting Meghan's commitment to ethical luxury and purpose-driven fashion. But Hermes didn't respond. Not directly. Instead, insiders claim the exchange was quietly forwarded to a handful of fashion editors, the ones who shape whispers long before they become news. It was a silent masterstroke. Hermes didn't have to name her. They simply let the story circulate where it mattered most. By the end of the week, every boutique and boardroom in Paris knew the Duchess had been declined. And in a world built on quiet power, that kind of rejection spreads like perfume, soft, lingering, and impossible to ignore. Because Hermes hadn't just said no. They'd made her the lesson. And once Paris starts whispering your name, the laughter isn't far behind. Determined to take back control, Meghan made her next move: Paris Fashion Week. Front row at Balenciaga, cameras flashing. The perfect stage for a comeback. But insiders say the moment she entered, the room went cold. No smiles, no greetings, just stillness. Backstage, whispers began to spread. At first about her attitude, then something crueler. Crew members allegedly complained about her scent, saying no amount of perfume could mask it. Stylists were said to be spraying non-stop, desperate to hide the embarrassment. Harsh, yes, but in Paris, cruelty wears couture. By the show's end, no one was talking about Balenciaga's designs, only about her. And when word spread that her outfit wasn't even gifted but borrowed, tags still attached, it hit harder than any headline. In the fashion world, borrowed means you don't belong. The message was silent but sharp. Meghan Markle wasn't the star of the show. She was the warning. But her next move would blur the line between scandal and obsession. After the icy reception at Fashion Week, Meghan made a move that stunned even her critics. She reportedly took a late-night drive through the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, the same tunnel where Princess Diana's life ended. Her team called it coincidence, but insiders in Paris whispered otherwise. They claimed she filmed the moment, trying to recreate the emotion, the symbolism, the tragedy. To the French elite, it wasn't homage. It was performance. Paris has always adored sincerity, but it punishes imitation, especially when a memory of Diana still lingers like a wound. And then came the twist no one missed. Meghan had spent years condemning the media that hounded Diana, yet her own tell-all interviews aired on CBS, the same network once accused of profiting from those very images of Diana's final moments. The hypocrisy didn't go unnoticed. To the city that once mourned a princess, this wasn't legacy, it was theater. And in Paris, when a performance feels forced, the applause fades fast. But Paris's silence can be louder than any scandal. and Meghan was about to feel its full weight. When the lights dimmed and the shows ended, Paris had already made his decision, not in headlines, but in silence. Designers stopped calling. Stylists kept their distance. The fashion houses that once chased her now watched from afar. Even her grand Balenciaga look, the one she thought marked her return, turned out to be nothing more than a last-minute favor. Borrowed dress, borrowed heels, borrowed glamour. In Paris, that's not fashion. That's pity. Behind closed doors, a new phrase began to circulate. Don't pull a Meghan. It became quiet industry code, a warning about overreaching, about mistaking fame for influence. She had tried to reinvent the game, but Paris reminded her who writes the rules. Still, the city couldn't look away. For all the mockery and silence, Meghan remained the conversation. The name whispered over champagne. The headline editors couldn't resist. Because even when she falls in full view. And Paris, as cruel as it can be, always keeps watching the ones it banishes. Months after Paris turned its back, whispers began again. But this time, they sounded different. Word from Montecito hinted that Meghan was quietly building something new. Not a charity, not a fashion line, something bigger. A brand built on control, image, and reinvention. Her way of taking the narrative back. The same insiders who once said Hermes rejected her now claimed she was planning her return, a project meant to blend power, luxury, and revenge. Because if there's one thing Meghan Markle has always done well, it's turning setbacks into stories. And that's the thing about her. She doesn't vanish when the world turns against her. She studies, she recalibrates, she rebuilds. Paris might have closed its doors, but Meghan? She's already found another way in. So as the City of Lights moves on, it still waits, curious, cautious, and a little afraid, wondering what her next act will look like. Because love her or hate her, Meghan Markle isn't finished. She's just rewriting the script.